Okay, Daily Wire has this report. West Virginia Congressman Riley Moore and Utah Senator Mike Lee on Tuesday introduced legislation that would ensure that new moms are not penalized under federal law for deciding to leave the workforce and stay home with their child. The Republican lawmakers introduced a new bill that would amend the Family and Medical Leave Act to ensure that parents are not required to pay back health care costs if they decide to stay home after the birth of their child. The bill, first shared with the Daily Wire, is titled the Fairness for Stay-at-Home Parents Act. Moore said, being pro-life means being pro-family. That means ensuring families aren't penalized for deciding to have a parent stay home with their baby. Our bill ensures families won't face a huge bill for insurance premiums simply for choosing what's best for their family. If passed, the legislation could save families thousands of dollars if a parent decides to stay home to take care of their child after parental leave. Currently, employers are allowed to claw back insurance premiums if a parent decides to leave the workforce. Family insurance premiums cost an average of $25,000 per year. The legislation would prohibit an employer from recovering any health care premium paid by the employer for an employee if the employee fails to return to work due to the birth of a child. Now, whatever you think about the specifics of this legislation, it is pointing in the right direction, which is trying to make it easier for moms to stay home with the kids. I mean, it says a parent staying home, but really we know we're talking about moms. And that's the right thing. That's the right direction. That's what our policy should be focused on. That's what our policy should be focused on rather than, as we talked about yesterday, maternity leave or parental leave. This is what our goal needs to be, to have more moms in the home raising their children. And we have to not be embarrassed saying that or working towards that goal. Okay, you have to be not embarrassed about saying, you know what, our goal as a society should be fewer women in the workforce because a lot more of them are home raising their kids. We need to not be embarrassed saying that because it's such an obviously good, healthy thing. And we all kind of know that at some level, I think. Our current system that we have right now is unsustainable. I mean, it really is as simple as that. This system of having both parents leave the home every day, that just can't go on forever. It's never worked that way before at any point in history. And when I say that, people will always respond and say, well, that's not true. You know, throughout history, women have actually been involved in all kinds of trades and professions, which, yeah, they have. And that really, by the way, exposes the lie that women have been oppressed for all of history until the middle of the 20th century. That isn't true. It is true that women have been involved in plenty of trades and professions throughout history. A lot of the guilds in the Middle Ages, for example, had female members. But you did not have at any point anywhere what we have now, which is women en masse leaving the home all day, every day, so that their children are raised by strangers that the parents are paying. Okay, that did not exist. So, yeah, you had women who did other things aside from the dishes and washing the clothes, but you did not have what we have now, which is all day, every day, at least 5 days a week. Both parents are out of the home and the kids are being raised by strangers. That did not exist. That's a system, that's a setup that has just never existed until right now, until the last few generations. It's a wholly new approach. And I think it's clearly a worse approach. And by the way, having other people help raise your kids, that's not new. I'm not saying that's new. I mean, historically, you had multi-generational families and homes and homesteads and farms and everything else. And so you had grandparents, even great-grandparents, aunts and uncles that were all in the vicinity helping to raise your children. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the way it really should be. But what makes this unique, what makes our setup unique is, again, both parents out of the home completely for all day, for 5 days a week, and the parents being raised not by other family members for the most part, but by strangers whose only attachment to the child is that they're being paid money to care about the kid for certain hours during the day. So that's it's a new setup. And it's obviously worse. Like, this is obviously a worse approach. It's worse for the child. It's worse for the family. It's worse for society. It's worse for the mother. Objectively speaking, it's better to have more women raising their children and fewer sitting in cubicles. We don't need women in cubicles. You know, like no problem is solved in society by taking women out of the home and putting them in cubicles. You know, you can look at the home that doesn't have mothers there and you can say, we really need mothers. Like there's a real need here that cannot be exactly filled by anybody else. But you don't really look at an empty cubicle and say, well, we need women specifically here in this cubicle because no one else can do this. We don't say that. And, you know, I say it's that this new system is not better for women. Well, think back to that video that I played yesterday. It's the viral video of the mother with the twin babies crying because she has to go back to work. And she says that when she leaves her babies and goes to the office, she has guilt. And she comes home and she is worried that her babies will have forgotten who she is. And she has a lot of guilt. But then she says that, well, that's just mom guilt. And she knows that mom guilt, that a lot of moms have it, and you have to get over it, right? And this is a very common theme. This is this theme of mom guilt, okay? Google the phrase mom guilt, and you'll find a million articles about it, a million videos about it, how to deal with it, how to overcome it, women talking about their mom guilt and how irrational the mom guilt is. And, you know, that's kind of the implied always when you hear about this mom guilt. What's being implied, or outright stated often, is that it's irrational, that you feel this mom guilt, but you shouldn't, because you actually have no reason to feel guilty. Now, I'm not doubting that moms and dads may feel sometimes inordinate or misplaced guilt. There is an extent to which parental guilt in general is like a real thing that can be irrational. Every parent experiences that sometimes, where you just, some of it is just the fear as a parent that, oh my gosh, I'm screwing up. I'm screwing these kids up. You know, you make a small mistake, you react to something the wrong way, whatever it may be. And in your head, you've spun this out to be, okay, well, now my kid's gonna be screwed up for life because of this. So every parent goes through that to some extent. But what I'm saying is that if mom guilt is this hugely prominent, widespread phenomenon right now, maybe we should stop and ask why. Are we sure that the mom guilt is always misplaced? Is it always an unreasonable emotion that we should just overcome? Or is it possible that a lot of moms feel guilty about leaving their children and going to the office because in reality, a large number of them should not be leaving their children and going to the office? I guess what I'm saying is that the feeling that the mom has of, I feel guilty leaving my babies, is that a feeling that maybe we should explore a bit? Maybe we should think about that a little bit? Maybe there's something there. Like maybe that's your heart, maybe that's your soul telling you that maybe you should consider not going back to work. And it seems a bit like if there was an epidemic of people experiencing a painful burning sensation in their hands, and we're all saying, why is everyone feeling this pain in their hands? What's going on? You know, there's a million articles written about it. We do videos about overcoming the hand pain. When in reality, if you just look down, you would see, oh, well, it's because we all have our hands on a stove. So it's not the pain that's the problem. It's the pain's actually trying to tell us something. It's alerting us to something that we need to pay attention to. And so probably the best strategy is to take your hand off the stove. And so if the woman in the video is feeling that pain deep inside, maybe she's got her hand on the hot stove. And we should think about that. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.